Hello students, welcome to the class. Today we will discuss Matthew Arnold's poem Dover Beach in detail. The title of the poem Dover Beach. In this the word beach is very important because it points at the controlling image of the poem. What is the setting of the poem? See, it's a pleasant evening and the poet and his beloved are apparently in a room with a window affording a view of the Straits of Dover on the southeast coast of England, perhaps in an inn. The major themes in Dover Beach are men, the natural world, and the loss of faith. The poet laments the loss of faith in the world with resultant cruelty, uncertainty, and violence. The central idea of the poem is that of people's isolation and alienation from nature and one another as well as the loss of religious faith. It is a lyric. Now we begin with the explanation of the poem. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light glims and is gone. As I said earlier, the setting is near the Dover beach. The poet is standing near a shore at Dover and the moon is shining in the sky. The light of the moon is falling over the whole strait of Dover. Now, what is a strait? A strait is a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two large bodies of water. That is called a strait. So the sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light glims and is gone. Now, as the moon is shining, the French coast is also shining dimly in the moonlight. Now, gradually, what happens? Gradually, the moon changes its position in the sky. So, the cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast. Now, when the moon changes its position in the sky, now the light is not falling on the French coast, but now it is falling on the English coast. And the calm waters of the sea are shining brightly. So it's a very beautiful sight to enjoy. So the cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast. Glimmering means shining faintly. And the cliff, what is a cliff? A cliff are the steep rocks which are usually overhanging sea. So, out in the tranquil bay, come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Now, see, since it is a very beautiful sight to enjoy, the poet calls his beloved to come to the window and look at this beautiful sight. He wants to enjoy this beautiful sight in the company of his beloved. He wants that she should also enjoy the sight. She should enjoy the long line of water drops which arise as the waves fall on the white moonlit coast. So he wants that she should enjoy the sweet air blowing in the night. So he says, come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land. Now, what is a spray? Spray means the small particles of water driven by wind that you find on the seashore. Spray. And what do you mean by moon blanched? Moon blanched means it is the land which is made white by moonlight. Since the white moonlight is falling on the land is shining brightly. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw black and fling. Now the sea is not calm. There are waves coming and going on the seashore. The ebb and flow of the waves have started. Waves are rising and falling on the coast, and then they are again returning back. So, listen. So, he's asking the beloved to listen. You hear the grating roar. What is grating? Grating means a harsh voice. So, the harsh voice made by the roaring waves of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling. Now, when the waves they return back and the waters they pass over the pebbles, they throw the pebbles on the shore. So, this ebb and flow of the waves is creating a kind of trembling musical sound. So, of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand. So when the waves return back to the seashore, they throw pebbles on the shore. Begin and cease, and then again begin. Now, this ebb and flow of the waves are coming, they are receding, again they are coming, again they are receding. So it is creating a kind of a trembling musical sound with tremulous cadence slow and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Now, when the poet he listens to this coming and going, receding of the waves, the roaring of the waves, he is reminded of some sad incidents in his life or around the world which he experiences. So that inspires some sad thoughts in his mind. So the poet asks his beloved to listen to the roaring sound of the waves attentively. So that is what you understand by the eternal note of sadness. It is the sound of the waves which tell of the ebb and flow of human misery. That is eternal. See, human misery is eternal. Man is forever a miserable creature. So that is the eternal note of sadness. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. Who was Sophocles? Sophocles was a Greek dramatist. So Sophocles, at the coast of the Aegean Sea, Sophocles heard the roaring sound of the ebb and flow of the sea waves. So the poet tells his beloved that when Sophocles heard this sound, he was reminded of the increase and decrease in men's misery. So that is the turbid ebb and flow. Turbid is something which is not clear, something which is muddy. And ebb means the return of the tide. So when Sophocles heard this, Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. So even Sophocles was reminded of the increasing and decreasing amount of miseries which a man had to face, a human being had to face. And that was eternal. Because in the earlier line, in the earlier stanza, we have read that line eternal note of sadness. So, of humor, we find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. Now, this is man is very miserable. Why? Because of its weak physical illness or the loss. Maybe he has lost some near and dear one. So, there is always a flow of misery in a man's life. But after some time, he may get rid of his miseries. This is ebb. The miseries are, they have decreased, just like the waves, they go back. But then the waves again come back to the shore. And similarly, the miseries again come back, or the miseries increase in a man's life. So when Arnold hears the roaring sound at Dover, he is reminded of the loss of man's religious faith, which he will which we will discuss in the next stanza in our next class.